Welcome to Dynamic Democracy. I'm Brad Waddell, and today I'll be talking about military aid to Israel. The House Republicans have passed a $14.3 billion military aid package for Israel, and to offset the cost, they're cutting money from the IRS. The Congressional Budget Office, or CBO, has already scored 4 previous attempts by House Republicans to cut money from the over $80 billion allocated to the IRS from the Inflation Reduction Act passed in 2022. Of the 4 previous attempts, on January 9th, April 25th, June 1st, and October 17th of this year, each would have increased the deficit by between $19 and $120 billion each over the next 10 years. The CBO, however, projects the $80 billion in additional funding to the IRS would reduce the deficit by at least $100 billion over the next 10 years. The $14.3 billion cut to the IRS's funding is projected to result in a deficit of at least $12.5 billion over the next 10 years. So the math doesn't math. It's not an offset. The offset needs an offset. The whole point of these cuts to the IRS's funding is to save the wealthy more money in taxes. By reducing the IRS's staffing, it's reducing its ability to investigate more complicated tax returns. A study in 2021 by the Tax Policy Center of the effective tax rate shows the top 1%'s effective tax rate dropping compared to the average American household. The wealthy are able to use loopholes within this extremely complicated system. For instance, an owner of a company can give themselves a low gross yearly income, which they pay taxes like the bracketed tax system we have on that, but then build an entire compensation package around it to make up for the rest, but that total compensation is not taxed at the same rate as gross hourly wages. Our system is incredibly complicated for exactly that reason. It's a self-made system. It's created and upheld by the same people. They want it to be complicated. Without a complicated tax system, you don't need to go to H&R Block every year and pay someone hundreds of dollars to do your taxes and file them for you because the rules are too complicated for a regular person to know all of the ins and outs. It just doesn't work. Fortunately, both leaders in the Senate, Mitch McConnell and Chuck Schumer, have both called the bill that House Republicans passed a non-starter, and President Biden has already threatened to veto it. All these things like a bracketed tax system, tax loopholes, how the House passes bills, presidential vetoes, it's all really complicated and hard to keep up with. But we need to do our best as regular citizens to do exactly that, because the corrupt interests that pay money to keep these self-made industries running through lobbying money and through campaign donations to maintain the system the way it is, they count on a return on their investment. A return on their investment in this case is fooling us into believing that what they want is in our best interest when it's usually not. What the top 1%, what the top 0.1% in America want in legislation is vastly different from what regular Americans need and want. They spend all of that money to pay off and get politicians in places of power, and then they put money as donors into campaigns and ads on TV and other digital media to get us to believe their side, that, oh, actually, this is bad for you. Don't vote for it because it helps their bottom line. But most of us don't have the knowledge to be able to know that they're lying to us. We need to do our best to stay informed so we can make the best choices for us when we go to the polls. Stay safe, stay informed, and stay active. I hope you've enjoyed this episode. I am Brad Waddell, and I'll see you next time on Dynamic Democracy. Thank you.